Welcome for our Week 1 Best Bets and Top Prop Picks video. We're going to talk about a few things in this one. We're going to give you our top picks, not every game. We have other videos for that. We're also going to give a couple of player prop bets. We're a few weeks out, and the lines haven't stabilized. We like that, and we're going to do our Survivor Pool Pick of the Week. Welcome to our video. We're going to talk about all picks, and we're going to give you our quick selections, and we're going to go deeper into our preferred picks for the week, and then we're going to talk about our teaser of the week. We're going to talk about player props and everything that gets you ready for Week 1. So we'll start with all the games here. We're going to look at the Cowboys, Eagles. We like the Eagles in that one. It's part of our teaser. We'll touch on that in a little bit. The Chiefs, we like the Chiefs over the Chargers. I think injuries are going to play a part in that one. For the Sunday early games, we like the Steelers, the Cardinals, the Patriots, Bengals, Browns. We're going to talk about that as our dog pick of the week. We like the Dolphins, Colts we're not sure on, so we would avoid that game. Too many unknowns. Giants, Commanders, we're going to talk about that in our teaser play. Panthers, Jags, we like the Jaguars there. Bucks, Falcons, we want to avoid because that's a tight divisional matchup. We don't know what to expect quite yet. We need to see a couple games. Rams and the Texans, we'll talk about that one a little bit later. Titans, Broncos is our survivor pick of the week. The 49ers, Seahawks, we lean Seattle on that one. We also have a player prop on that one. Lions, Packers, we'll talk about that one in a little bit, along with the Ravens, Bills, one of our favorite picks of the week. And then for the Monday night game, we're not sure. We lean Bears on that one, but too many unknowns. We don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to do. We don't know how Caleb's going to do in that new offense. We're going to avoid that one. So we'll talk about details here in a second. There are 3 games we consider for this week's Survivor pick, but we don't want to pick division games because you never know what happens with the division matchup. So we look for a non-division game, and the best one to fit that criteria is the Titans at the Broncos. We see a couple of advantages here, not the least of which is a rookie quarterback starting his first game on the road. Never a good formula. Even Jaden Daniels lost last year. Bo Nix lost last year in their first game. Not sure if they were on the road or not. But in this game, of course, Denver has a significant home field advantage with the altitude. We know that Cam Ward's from Houston. I'm from Houston. We can't handle altitude. It just doesn't work. He played college football in Miami. 0 altitude. And again, the Denver defense is unbelievable. Patrick Surtain is the first or second best cornerback in the league. We think Derek Stingley's the best. We're Texans fans, a little biased. But what they've done with that defense is probably the best defense in the league, right there with the Texans. So we think this is a big advantage for the Broncos. We like the Broncos here 24-14 at least. We think they cover that 7 to 7.5 point spread, make them our survivor pick. Our next top pick is the Texans at the Rams. We're really high on both these teams, unbelievable offenses. But for this game, we want to focus on the defense. We think the Texans defense continues to be underrated. And if Matthew Stafford has any lingering effects or injury or is a little bit rusty, we think that his first game with Devontae Adams, they're not going to be all that sharp. They didn't practice much. I think this is a good underdog play here. We again think the Texans are underrated defensively. We like them +3, but the best bet here is the under 45.5. We're not sure if C.J. Stroud's going to put up great numbers at L.A. either. And then looking at the player props, our biggest one we can see is Matthew Stafford because you're going up against reputation, right? Everybody knows he's going to put up high numbers, but if his injury is probably overstated, quite honestly, but he didn't practice much, so there's going to be some rust, we would think. And again, going up against this Texans defense, not to be overstated, Derek Stingley, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. On the other side, Kamari Lassiter, second-year guy, was one of the better cornerbacks in the league last year. And then the defensive line has 2 beasts in it. You've got Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, 2 bookend defensive ends, put a lot of pressure. And then overall, head coach puts a lot of pressure. Former linebacker himself, DeMeco Ryans, knows how to call defense, was really good. We think that pressure is going to come up the middle to the sides from all around and really slow Stafford down. So for that, we think Stafford's going to be below his average. We'll see what those numbers are. We think that's a good play going on the under. Lions and Packers, NFC North, very evenly matched teams. They played a great game in Detroit last year that came down to this flukish play that kind of sealed it for the Lions. But unfortunately for the Packers, it comes down to timing. We're going to take a look at the defensive adds that the Lions have. They bring back key player Aiden Hutchinson, the Lions' best defender, was hurt most of last year. They got DJ Reed to come over to kind of stabilize the cornerback position. And their safeties are 2 of the best in the league with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. And then for the Packers, no Christian Watson. He did the majority of their receiving in the 2 games against the Lions last year. For those reasons, we like the Lions here 28-24, even on the road. Remember, September, not November, in cold Lambeau. Let's take a look at Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Goff had a great season in 2024. Very difficult finish as they lost that game to Washington at home. But Goff has the explosive playability, and we look for matchups that might give him the advantage. Playing on the road at Green Bay is not a good situation. However, they're playing him in September, not in cold weather months, November and December. With the injuries on the Packers secondary, Hobbs is questionable, safety McKinney is questionable, even Quay Walker, the linebacker, is questionable. A lot of those injury reports might be overdone. But having lost Jair Alexander, we think that weakens them. And then can they cover Gibbs? Can they cover St. Brown and Williams out of the backfield? We don't think so. We like Jared Goff in this matchup again. Playing at Green Bay, warmer weather, should be ideal conditions for an indoor team. We like Goff and the over here. And one of our top picks for week 1 is Baltimore at Buffalo. Look at what the odds makers do. That kind of gives you a clue what they really believe. Buffalo is at home, yet they're only favored by 1.5 points. That tells you that really the true value is on Baltimore. We look at the matchups here. We love the addition of Jair Alexander in the secondary to a very improved secondary in the second half of the year. Not too many people notice that. They got a lot better after, say, week 9 or 10. We think that secondary is going to be the difference. We like Baltimore here. We also feel they're avenging that playoff loss in which 3 turnovers really doomed them. They outgained the Bills. We like the Ravens here, plus 1.5. We are staying away from the 49ers-Seahawks game as a preferred pick. We think that game's too close to call. We do lean Seahawks. We might take a slight position on that. But we like here as a player prop, and we think it's going to be an under-the-radar sleeper pick because he's not even the number 1 receiver on the team. That's wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Always served as kind of that safety net, security blanket for Matthew Stafford. Made some clutch catches. Definitely an injury risk, but we think for this game, provided he's healthy to start the season, we like what he can do, and we're not thinking that defenses are going to be keying on him, probably get single coverage. And then we look at Clint Kubiak's offense. We know from New Orleans, we also know from being a Texans fan, his father Gary Kubiak ran that zone play action, should be getting some single coverage opportunities to come in behind the linebackers as they come in to stop the run. They utilize play action. That should give Cooper Kupp a lot of opportunities in the middle of the field. We think he's going to be able to thrive there. So looking at a number, say it's 50 or below, we think that's a great over opportunity. Another over opportunity could be with the Cleveland Browns running back Jerome Ford. We all know the Browns are underdogs here against the high-flying Bengals offense. But remember, this team is at home. They're also going to want to slow down the Bengals. They're going to do it defensively, but also with ball control. Interesting stat about Jerome Ford, averaged over 5 yards per carry last season. We think they're going to lean on him heavy. Take Ford over. It's only preseason, but the Bengals' rush defense looked terrible against the Commanders on Monday night. And we wonder if Trey Hendrickson has not signed what that defense is going to look like this season. That's not good going up against a Browns team that wants to run the ball. They definitely want to keep Burrow off the field as much as humanly possible. Then on the flip side, you look at what the Browns defense brings. You've got Myles Garrett, an absolute beast at defensive end. Good D-line. They added Graham. They've reinforced that position. And on cornerback, you have Denzel Ward, who could potentially slow down Jamar Chase. And then you've got the Bengals' offensive line had the worst pass block win rate last season. That means they possibly can allow some sacks. Not good at going against Myles Garrett. So we think this is going to be a slower pace. We think the Browns are going to try to control the clock and run the ball. All those factors lead to an under. So we think that's a high number for a totals number. We like the under 45.5. We're going to take a half position on the Browns plus the 6. Now let's talk some strategies for player props. We're talking here about wide receivers and running backs. We definitely prefer yardage to touchdowns. We don't think that's as easily predicted. You're not going to know who the quarterback's going to throw to. Yardage numbers, you can go on averages, and if those numbers should go up or down based on the competition. Now for quarterbacks, especially running quarterbacks, anytime touchdowns, we love that. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, we got great value on Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. We thought that with the tush push, he was very likely that he'd score a touchdown, and he did. So those guys more likely to have touchdowns than you can predict. Running backs, wide receivers, try to go for the yardage number. And next we have our teaser of the week. We're looking at 2 lines that are 7 to 6.5 points. Both division games which concern us. We're going to put small positions on both for the Commanders to cover and the Eagles to cover. We're going to take that 6.5 to 7, tease it down at least 6 to get that under the 1. That's our teaser of the week, 2 games. The Eagles versus the Cowboys and the Commanders versus the Giants. And each week, be sure to check out our website, spiritsportsconsultants.com. See the comments for the link. But we're going to have the updated week 1 lines. We maintain them here at least a couple times a day. We'll work on the real-time feed. And then each week also on Wednesday, we're going to have the updated preferred picks posted. We do the pick videos on Mondays, but then things can change between Monday and Wednesday as the lines start to become more stable. Injury reports come out, things of that nature. So check out our website and get the updated information. Thank you.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.